nothing but the dog in me.
Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. There's nothing like hearing my crew singing that song in the control room. I love it. Anyway, we've got Nancy here tonight. She hasn't been around lately because she's not been feeling that great, so it's nice to see her in there. Of course, Zach and Speedo, without whom I could not be doing this show. And I don't know, maybe some of you would be happy about that, but don't kidnap my crew because I need them. Anyway, this is about as Christmassy as this show is going to get this year. My token red is my Rolling Stones red, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not a real holiday person. Some people are, some people aren't. I enjoy giving, but I feel funny taking. You know, it's just not me. Like, so people give me presents or, you know, it's nice and I certainly appreciate it, but I'm much more of a giver than a taker. And for some reason, the holidays just never really thrilled me. And this is me and a whole bunch of people I know actually are going through their year of firsts. You know, when you've lost a loved one, you know, it's a year of firsts. It's the first Thanksgiving, the first Christmas, etc. and so on. So we all know I lost my mom this summer, so kind of a weird sensation, but it is what it is, and Christmas goes on, and I certainly appreciate the people who are in the spirit. And talking about being in the spirit, I mentioned this a few weeks ago, and I did a column on it. The Meals on Wheels program in Waterbury and Danbury has an Animeals portion of what they do for those two locations. And that is, you know, a lot of these elderly people who can't get out, and that's the reason why, or they have trouble getting out, is the reason why they have their food delivered. And, you know, it came to light in a lot of situations. It's not just in these two towns. The seniors have pets, and that's probably in a lot of cases all they have. So, you know, yeah, they can't get out, they can't do groceries, so they're sharing their food with their pets, which isn't the healthiest for the pets, and it means that the people aren't eating a full meal. So what they came up with, new opportunities, was Animeals, which provides pet food for these seniors. And I think that's, you know, I've said it before, I think that's a wonderful thing. You know, it makes sure that everybody is taken care of. And that's really so important. But the reason why I'm bringing this up again is because something really wonderful happened for the Animeals recipients this week. Because I had brought it to the attention of my circle of people. If you remember Lisa Robin from Blankets and Bowls, who was the lovely young lady who was on the week before my birthday. If you remember, she presented me with some beautiful flowers from her garden for my birthday. She's just a wonderful and compassionate person. She got on the bandwagon, and she got involved with Animeals. Now, again, let's go back to the facts. This is probably all some of these people have is their pets. They can't get out to even buy food. So what kind of Christmas do their pets have? Well, this year, because of Lisa and Blankets and Bowls, every Animeals subscriber, 93 animals, got Christmas courtesy of Blankets and Bowls. She got the total of, you know, how many pets there were, whether they were cats or dogs. She found out there were 93. In Danbury, 11 cats and 4 dogs. And in Waterbury, 49 cats and 29 dogs all got Christmas baskets. And Nancy's jumping up and down in there. There were, for the cats, there were blankets and toys and a can of cat food. For the dogs, there were toys and a size-appropriate blanket. You know, I didn't bring pictures of this, but, you know, they're on Facebook, and I will post them because I'm talking about it on Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. Beautifully done, you know, wrapped up, very pretty, with a little gift tag from Blankets and Bowls. And the deliveries were made to the facility Earlier this week, I believe it was Monday, Lisa played Santa and delivered all these packages. And so they went out this week in time for Christmas. And she had already gotten, when she contacted me, I think it was Thursday night, to tell me the good news that, mission accomplished and all that. One of the drivers in Danbury had already contacted her in a message that she shared with me, saying that the joy on the seniors' faces, that their pets could have a Christmas present, that, that someone actually thought enough of them and their animals who, they're like family. Come on. You guys, we go out and buy all kinds of crazy stuff for our animals. We treat them like a member of the family. We get excited over, what they might do with a Christmas present and, et cetera and so on. So imagine how these people feel who haven't maybe been able to provide that for them in quite some time. Imagine how they must have felt to know that, little Fluffy or Fifi or, whatever in the house actually got a little spoiled, and so they get to see them play and be happy and have something new. And how cool is that? I really think that it's one of the most amazing things that anyone could have done for these people. Everybody knows I have the most enormous soft spot for animals, but what my little secret thing is my love and my compassion for the seniors. I mean, my grandmother, may she rest in peace, was a Meals on Wheels recipient in New York City. I mean, I know firsthand, they get older and they can't get out, and it makes them feel, I think, sometimes less human. So this just totally gave a whole bunch of people just a bright spot, and, the way to get to us sometimes is through our animals. So by all means, Blankets and Bowls, Lisa Robin, with the help of Jane Payne, thank you so very much for taking care of 93 animals who actually have a Christmas now because of you. And that's the end of that story. Anyway, I had posted requests if you wanted to see your pet's pictures on the air tonight, that all you'd have to do was send it in to me. So I did get some, and I got more than some from someone, but we will get there in the grand scheme of things. The first picture that we have is from our very own Allison Leo. And if we can bring up picture number 1, we will see her crew. And they went to visit Santa. Santa, I believe that was the Santa at Cheshire Cat and Dog 2. That is her crew. That's Blackjack, and that's Blackjack in the front. Blaze is the black shepherd. We've got Busy and Brandy, and that's, I'll tell you, if you know Allison on Facebook, she's got some stories with her crew. I will tell you. They are all rescues. The black shepherd is her newest addition. He was actually born to a pair of dogs that were dumped at the groomers, I guess, is the way that story goes, and Allison helped deliver the puppies. I mean, I can't imagine you get a pregnant dog and you're just going to dump it, but, it is what it is, and people do what they do. And so Blaze truly has a happily ever after. I haven't seen him in a while. I walked him around in my arms in the store one day, and he was quite heavy then, and he wasn't even that big. So, she's got 4 huge dogs. People think I'm crazy. I think hers all outweigh me. But by all means, that is Allison's crew, and Merry Christmas to them. Next up, we have, that's Scout. Scout belongs to Kathy Otto. He is a rescued critter. He was brought into her home about 3 years ago. He's a senior, and you can see his little tail going there a mile a minute. He was pretty happy. The seniors are so often overlooked, and it's so nice to know that he's an older guy who got a home later in life, and clearly getting taken well care of. I can't even talk tonight. By Santa, and I think that's a great picture. I love his face. I love seniors. You know, my 2 boys are 10, and that's pretty old for a bigger dog anyway. But thanks to Kathy Otto for sending in Scout's picture. And next up, the one-of-a-kind Katie Cusack saw my request for pictures, and she sent in quite a few. And she was telling me how sorry I was going to be that I had asked. But, there's the Lovables. If you remember, she was on the show, and she brought her Lovables. So those are some Christmas Lovables that she's got there. And that's Ava and Nero, who are both her rescues. And she sent in like a whole bunch of pictures with their ugly sweaters and everything. So she wasn't joking. And I certainly don't have any problem showing them. Katie is a fashion designer, so these poor dogs are long-suffering. If you look at some of these pictures, there's some of her pictures, and she's got a very pretty display there. Katie is with It's the Pits Community Awareness, and she was our photographer for the Santa pictures that I was involved in last weekend. But those are all of her pictures, and that should pretty much be leading us into, oh, there we go. We're going through them again.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, you can go on to the next one. Zach was just making sure I was ready. Now that is Shelby, who was submitted by Julie. Shelby is 2 or 3 years old, and she is a lap dog who loves to burrow under the covers. So there she is, all Christmas snuggly and warm, waiting for Santa, probably by a warm fire someplace. She looks like a really content dog. The comment that Julie had said was that she was pretty sure that Shelby rescued her. And in a lot of cases, that's true. You know, we think we're saving a dog, and then we find out that, you know, in the end, they really do save us. The next 2 pictures are mine. You know, I don't get my dogs out much with Santa anymore. There's too many of them, and you know they're too crazy, and you know I already have enough gray hair. But these 2 pictures, and you can flip them back and forth a little bit. That's my Daisy, and Daisy was with me for 9 years, and I lost her in 2002 to autoimmune hemolytic anemia. It was the worst 10 days of my life, was her decline. But she was the most patient and wonderful dog. She had her flaws too, but I loved that picture of her with Santa. There's like a series of them because I used to take her as often, you know, every year there for a while. But you know, with the antlers, she was just so good in that moment. And there's another picture that was like right after that she started to prance a little bit, like she was getting ready to take off. You know, little reindeer ready to take off. I could have brought so many more, but, you know, I kind of like messed myself up with time, and I would have had to go search them all out and, you know, all that fun stuff. But that's my contribution. And I will take the camera back because I could look at Daisy all night, but that doesn't mean that you guys are going to want to. I just, you know, I still miss her, and I love her so much. It's been so long since she's gone. You know, there's always that one dog that just, I mean, all your animals should mean, you know, a lot to you if you're truly such an animal lover. But, you know, there's just, I think I've always felt robbed because she left me too soon. You know, when they're sick or they're older and you know, you realize that it's time, it's one thing. But when they kind of like leave you suddenly, I think it just leaves you feeling even more of a void because she's only 9 years old. She really should have had a few more years left, but that's never for us to decide. It's not our judgment, and we'd keep them forever. And even Kimba at 17 and Kelly at 15 and a half. if they were healthy and whole, I would have been happy to have them still, but it's not the way it works. Anyway, as I've mentioned, last weekend we did pictures with Santa at Thomaston Feed, and Brendan Bowden played Santa, and Katie Cusack was our photographer. And we kind of slapped that together last minute. We wanted to do a little something to brighten the holidays for some shelter animals. So what is going to happen with that is, again, it wasn't a huge turnout, and that was, next year. Oh, believe me, we've got plans. What's going to happen is, with what we got, we're going to brighten up the Cheshire Pound. So we're going to give those guys, there's only a few dogs in there, and so it all worked out, and the Cheshire Pound is going to be receiving the fruits of those efforts, and those dogs will have a little something for Christmas. I have to thank Howard from Cheshire Cat and Dog 2, who bailed me out today, and that's all I can say, because otherwise I'll be giving something away that I can't give away yet. Anyway, moving right along, I usually don't talk about, my guests for the next week, only because I hate to jinx it. If something happens or, somebody can't make it, I hate to say, so-and-so is going to be on, and then it doesn't happen. But we do have Allison Leo coming on next weekend. She's bringing her dog, Blackjack, who unfortunately, we talked about bringing him on for a number of reasons, but he's a sick pup. He has been diagnosed with cancer, and so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that. Everybody's experience is different, and sometimes, people can learn from what other people are going through. So we're going to go through her journey with that, and I do hope that Allison can make it, because she has had a bout of bronchitis, and I don't know if it was because she was at some barbecue, and I think she didn't have her shoes on or something like that. But I'm told that if she grabs a cold pop, it could help, and that's the end of that story. So hopefully we'll be able to see Allison next week. Now, Zach, don't run away, because what I want to do is I want to run through all the pictures again, just in case anybody missed them. I think Zach is going to lose it in there because he knows what I'm up to. We're going to pull up the pictures, just give them a 5 count for each one, run right through them all in case anybody wasn't tuned in and missed them. We'll show them all again. There's Blackjack, Allison's crew right there, so we'll see him here next week. And just run them all through, and I'll just keep talking. There's Scout again. And then we will have Ava and Nero, no shortage of pictures from our dear friend Katie. And the Lovables. God, I love those things. They're so cute. She brought a whole bunch with her when we were doing the Santa pictures, and she just had some really, really nice Christmas designs. The girl is just so talented. And even the costumes and all that she made. It's incredible. And clearly a very pretty Christmas tree there too. She's very talented. And she's an animal lover, and she's a good person, and that's all that matters. And there's Shelby again. And my little Daisy. I want to make sure that in case anybody missed it, they get to see their pictures again. And yep, I'm getting the camera back. Yay for everybody. And I just want to remind all of you that, with the holidays, you've got, a busy household, you've got company, you've got your animals there. Try to keep them safe. Remember, I said it at Thanksgiving, it's an unusual situation for your dog to have, a lot of people in the house maybe. You've got a lot of food out, you've got kids over, you've got presents, you've got paper, you've got ribbons, you've got wrappings. It can all be dangerous for your pets. So probably, and also I think I mentioned at Thanksgiving, you've got people running in and out of the house, people going to the car to get stuff. You've got, a lot of times people get on their cell phone and they want to step outside and talk, or people go outside to do whatever they do outside, have conversations, etc., and so on. If you've got an animal, it's going to be excited, trying to follow people, provide for the fact that accidents can happen, and keep your dog, keep your cat in a separate room away from all the action. I'm not trying to say, your dog anyway shouldn't be part of, your family and your get together and get attention and all that. But, if you get a cat that's going to run out the door, if someone leaves it open, a lot of people don't have animals and they don't think. So they leave a door open, and next thing you know, boom, out goes the cat, and you don't know it until the next day when you realize you haven't seen your cat. I mean, come on, your cat isn't always in your face. Well, mine is, but whatever. Your cat isn't always necessarily going to be right in your face. So you may not know that he slipped out, and you'll never know. You can start looking for the cat. The cat's not there. You don't know when it left, where it went. Keep the cat in a separate room where you know that no one's going to go in, and leave that door open so the cat gets out. Ribbon and all that, while it's pretty and your cat would love to play with it, go ahead and watch what happens when the cat swallows the ribbon, because it's going to get stuck, and it's surgery if the cat even survives having swallowed it. I mean, that's a really serious thing. That's why you should never let cats play with string and ribbon and stuff like that. But with, a dog, you've got food everywhere. You've got people who maybe aren't familiar with having animals, so they're leaving stuff on the coffee table. The dog can get to it. If you've got stuff with bones, it's not good for the dog. The dog's going to choke or, rip up its insides. So that's why I say, not so much because, you shouldn't have your dog be part of your family and your festivities, but for the safety factor, someone puts an alcoholic beverage down on a coffee table and your dog's slurping it up. No matter how cute you think it is, alcohol and dogs, it's not supposed to happen. So you are the pet owner. The pet is your family member. You really do need to be the person who thinks it all through and, make sure that accidents don't happen. I found in my lifetime, there's just too many people who aren't used to having animals or being around animals. And if your dog gets a little bit overstimulated, you got kids around and they're chasing the dog, they want to play, pulling on the tail, pulling on the ears. What do you think the dog's going to do? Bite. So really, why would you want to even put your dog or children or anybody in that situation? And it's not just kids that could get bit, it's adults too. Again, walking in and out of the house, they're all strangers, dog's getting all worked up and doesn't know what else to do with themselves. So really keep yourself aware of the surroundings as your pet would be seeing it or comfortable or uncomfortable. Do the right thing. I'm going to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I want to say a special shout out to Dawn. She watches, I know, just about every week, and she calls in on Speedo's show, who has his show at 8 o'clock, and you ought to tune in, and you never know when I'm going to show up on there. But anyway, Dawn is a religious watcher of Pound Posse Presents, and I appreciate that. She, like I said, calls in on Speedo's show and will say, oh yeah, I watch, and she's just a really, really awesome person, and I appreciate the fact that she watches and calls in and comments. So very Merry Christmas to you and Jose and all of your children and grandchildren. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. I appreciate the support that I've gotten throughout this year. This has been, a wild ride to have the show, and I enjoy doing it. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. We're at 3,300 and something hits on YouTube, so that's somebody's watching. Even though when I put the phone on and nobody calls and people don't necessarily comment on stuff on the Facebook page, I know you're watching, so I appreciate that. And I'm certainly open to suggestions on guests for next year. We already have that season, starting in January lined up. Well, actually, it's the end of December. Last year, I had to wait until January because of the holidays. But, you know, I appreciate everybody, and I wish you all happy, safe holidays, Merry Christmas. You know, we'll see Allison here next week with Blackjack, provided that, you know, her bronchitis passes. I don't know how much time I've got left, but I know we're winding down. Oh, okay. Zach has spoken. I've got about a minute or so. A minute, well, it was a minute and 30 seconds, like a minute and 40 seconds ago. Oh, we're having too much fun. Anyway, remember this Christmas too that there's a lot of people going through stuff. So, you know, be kind, be patient. You know, I'm not necessarily a real people person in a lot of ways, but you know, remember that people are going through stuff. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's the season to be kind, and it's not necessarily only this season. You know, consider adopting a dog. They're sitting in the pounds. They're getting full. There's an awful lot of quietness. There's Bridgeport that's full. There's, you know, New Haven. There's every pound that you can look at's got dogs that are just kind of sitting there waiting to go home. And rather than, you know, go out and shop, adopt and give a dog a home and do it responsibly. Anyway, yep, they're telling me to wrap it up. I've got 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to say, once again, Merry Christmas and all that. We'll see Allison next week. We're going to say peace, love, and dogs. Make sure you watch for the Christmas promo on Christmas Day. I did that. And it's channel what? 96. Okay. And we'll see you next weekend. Merry Christmas, everybody.